sure there is really, as everyone says, it's a great future and present as well.
There are so many musicians and composers in your country, like Janssens, your teacher, and Maskey and Vasquez, something like that.
You know.
Yeah. So what is about the Latvia that produces such a talent?
Yeah, it's actually Latvia in total is only 2 million inhabitants in Latvia. It's small country, of course, but I would say, I would say two things probably. One is that there is a very strong tradition of singing, of almost everyone sings in a choir, or that we have this song festival when everyone, about 30,000 people sing outside, but very difficult songs with 4 voices and so almost everyone is singing, and therefore many people go, particularly when it was in Soviet times, go to music school and to study an instrument, and not necessarily to become a professional, but just for fun and so sport and music was very important thing. And I think that from one side, this great discipline of education, what was in my generation and also generations earlier, plus the mentality, I think Latvian mentality, which is somewhere between Scandinavian and Russian, I think that mixture somehow makes, I know Latvians, we are very, I would say, hard working, we like to work hard, and we also quite self-critical, which is, I think, which is a helpful thing when you want to develop, because if you think that you can now have reached something and you can stop, develop and study, it's not a good thing. It's better you have a constant feeling that you want to find new things and to develop and to, in my case, when I conduct, to look in the score and to always find the new colors, the new things to. So I think that all came from my education, and I think all of, as you mentioned, these wonderful musicians from Latvia, I think they very often they say the same things, that education, Latvian mentality, which is hardworking, and the great tradition of singing, which is in the blood of Latvians.
1978年，尼尔森斯出生于拉脱维亚首都里加的一个音乐世家，父亲是大提琴手和合唱指挥，而母亲更是创立了当地最早的以演唱文艺复兴时期歌唱作品为主的专业合唱团。5岁时，尼尔森斯被家里人带到里加的拉脱维亚国家歌剧院，聆听了唐豪瑟的演出。瓦格纳的魔力迅速征服了尼尔森斯，让他下定决心以音乐作为毕生的追求。
As we know, you come from a music family. Did it help push you into the music at the early stage in your life?
I was in love with music. Of course, my parents are musicians, so I was in love with music since I was born. But I really loved music, and I loved also piano. But I think as a boy, I was really thinking about that. I mean, I wanted to become a football player, for soccer player. There's one period, but now I'm so thankful to my parents that they didn't force me, but they always reminded me. And of course, I was studying it still very seriously. But then I decided at the age of 11, suddenly I want to play another instrument, and it came out that I had a chance to play trumpet, and I started to study trumpet and practiced like a mad. 8 hours a day, my lips were bleeding, but practicing, and it was a very quick result, and I became a trumpet player. And then started to study conducting and singing, and everything went together. And at the end, it all ended, so I became a conductor. And I loved music, of course, because the first exposure, when I was 5 years old, my father took me to the opera house in Riga, which is a nice opera house. And the first opera I heard was Tannhäuser, Richard Wagner. I was 5 years old, and normally people would maybe listen Wagner out when they're 17, maybe 20, but at the age of 5 it's very unusual. But I loved that opera so much that I was in love in that music, and since then I can say I was infected by music from age of 5, absolutely. So even if I didn't become a pianist, but I knew I was going to be a musician from that age.
So as a 5-year older boy, what did you take away from this performance?
I think firstly, of course, it is the music itself, because I enjoyed, and I still, of course, I'm now all the tunes, or many of these tunes which were so not only so beautiful, but the way of Wagner's writing, this endless melody and endless. It felt I was hypnotized by that music, and that was the biggest thing. And of course, the story in Tannhäuser, the idea of sacrificing for someone you love was very strong, And I was crying because Tannhäuser died, and Elizabeth died, and I was crying because I was so sorry that they died. The atmosphere, the opera, everyone is dressed, and then the lights go down, and you have expectations, and then and comes the conductor and applause, and then the conductor started to conduct, and as a 5-year-old child, I was thinking, oh my God, he's doing something and the music is sounding. So I subconsciously thought I would want to be involved in music like he. I was, of course, in 5 years you don't understand what exactly it means. I think he was, like painting, and from that moment I wanted to become conductor very subconsciously, age of 5, and now I still think this the same. I think the conductor profession is not only giving the tempo and giving the dynamic, but it is with your hands also showing the character and creating the atmosphere of what the music is about, and what in subjective opinion, but it's like, I think it's from that time it was the first impulse to become a conductor. Yeah.
So you must be very sensitive to music.
Well, I love music very much. I think I'm quite sensitive, which sometimes is, I cry quite a lot because when I hear beautiful music.
When did you realize the music will be your career?
I think when I really realized is when I started to play trumpet, because I practiced so much, and the result was quite fast. And then I entered the music high school, and then I got my first job very early, age of 17, in the opera in Riga, the same opera where I heard Tannhäuser, and I got my job when I was 17, and then I played for 5 years in the opera orchestra, but then parallelly I was studying conducting. Then I became music director of the same orchestra I was playing opera. So it's a very symbolic journey somehow, I think, for me. And
do you think it is very important for a conductor to have played an instrument?
I think it's like in any profession. If you are responsible of a bigger company